everybody out there in YouTube. We are the Middle-Aged Guys, and we're going to be bullshitting about Final Fantasy VII and the remake and some of the development changes that have happened just recently with it. Let's go ahead and get our introductions done. I'm the Reverend.
The Theme here.
And I'm Grey Mouse 1.
The Final Fantasy VII remake was the announcement of it in E3 of 2015 was met with a lot of fanfare. Okay, and people were, a lot of fans were sitting there saying, yes, this is what we want. And then their expectations started to become a little bit more tempered when, some more details started coming out. And it wasn't just the CG cutscenes that they were showing off at E3 and everything. The details about it going episodic started to worry people, all right? And then some of the real details about the nature of whether or not the gameplay or the story was going to be touched and everything like that, which we talked about in a previous video. Link will be someplace up here. That started, again, worrying people. And then what happened promptly after that was that pretty much Square Enix went radio silent on Final Fantasy VII Remake. There really has not been a peep here nor there about the progress of the game or other things like that, or whether or not fans would see anything new. There have been rumors that have been dropped out over the last few months, and one of the rumors that sat there and was alarming people was people were like, well, there must be something going on with the development because Square Enix themselves is posting up like job openings directly for their in-house development team for positions for a world-famous, world-renowned RPG title. And look, it's Square Enix. How many world-renowned RPG titles or industry-setting RPG titles can you expect from out there? Really, it's Final Fantasy. All right, that's what people are going to be thinking. All right. I know there are people out there who are like, well, what about Dragon Quest? Well, Dragon Quest isn't anywhere near as big outside of Japan as it is in Japan. All right, when it comes to like the Western following of it, absolutely, great game. It's an adorable series and everything else. But when you sit there and you're comparing the industry impact and the position in the industry and how big the title is commercially, it doesn't hold a candle to Final Fantasy, and that's just the truth of the matter. Well, what happened was that earlier this week, I believe it was actually on. Let's see here. The first, it was announced out that Square Enix was bringing all of the development for Final Fantasy VII Remake in-house. They're no longer working with CyberConnect 2, which has helped them with like some of the ports for their games to PC, and also I believe that's also one of the external developers that helps them work on a lot of 3DS titles with CyberConnect 2. So they took development. A large portion of the development away from CyberConnect 2, moved it in-house, and also, in a surprising turn, they took the lead development role away from, Tetsuya Nomura, who, as we know, if you know anything about the guy, he's a perfectionist, and because of that, there's a reason why Final Fantasy 15 ended up being Final Fantasy 15 instead of Final Fantasy 13 Versus. All right, instead of it actually coming out and being part of what they called the Deus Fabula Nova or something like that, or the Christus Fabula Nova when they first announced it in the E3 of 2006, where it was like, oh, we got Final Fantasy 3, but there's going to be other spin-off games that are attached to it, because of the pace that they were taking with the game and how big the project ended up, it turned into Final Fantasy 15 as a result. It took about a decade for it to go ahead and hit the stores and all of that. So they've wrested control of Final Fantasy VII Remake away from Tetsuya Nomura. It looks like he's only handling Kingdom Hearts 3 right now. And the head developer has now been named as Naoki Hamaguchi. He is now the head developer who is in charge of Final Fantasy III. This right here represents a huge shakeup for the game. There are a lot of things that this can indicate, and I've got a lot of thoughts on it, but I'm going to stop monopolizing everybody's time. I'm going to open up the floor and ask you guys, what do you think about the news for Final Fantasy VII Remake? What do you think this means for the game, especially considering all the other news that's been floating around for it?
So at this point, at least the game is going to see release instead of. Okay, look. You mentioned Kingdom Hearts 3 earlier. Wow, that may not ever see a release because Nomura, the perfectionist himself, now he's off of Final Fantasy VII Remake. As far as development, no matter what they do, is not going to totally satisfy the fans, regardless of what they do as far as what they create. If it's not a copy and paste with glistening graphics or whatever, even if they do that, it still won't satisfy everybody. I'm just going to go on different areas as far as this conversation. Gray Mouse, you got the floor.
This is great news. For me, especially. I wasn't too pleased with it being episodic. I really didn't like that idea. And I'm glad they wrestled it away from him. So maybe it will get released in the next 2 to 3 years. Yeah. The way it was going, you'll get the first release in 2025. Just one, But that's neither here nor there. I would love to see it have a presence in E3 this year, at least show some more character models. Love to see what Yuffie looks like, and Aerith, and what's her name? I can't even think of her name right now. Tifa, rather.
Yeah.
I would love to see their character models, and I don't think it's really going to have. How can it's going to be the same game. They're not going to, they're not going to go in a total different direction. I would hope. I mean, they already had some gameplay last year. Was it last year they showed it?
Yeah, but I thought they already have. I thought it's going to play like 15.
Yeah, and I think it's going to stay like that. So if anybody has hopes that they're going to change it back to a turn-based game, just go ahead and dash your hopes right now. Sorry, it's just the way it is. But so I'm just glad that you might actually see a release now, which is good news.
I think it's going to be packed with DLC.
I don't think so.
Materia DLC, alternate cutscenes DLC.
No.
Yeah, Aerith surviving DLC.
No,
actually, that's more likely to happen, especially since the fact that the last Square Enix earnings report, they were flying high and up front the whole games as a service flag, and they were emphasizing that was going to be a big part of their roadmap going forward.
Or certain magics, certain spells, certain summons, DLC. Shit that wasn't in the first game will be in this game, but it will be DLC.
Or they'll find a way to sit there and crowbar like a multiplayer mode into it. But I think with this particular one, I don't know if this is a good thing, or if this is like an indication as far as what type of scope and what type of what the situation is development-wise for Final Fantasy VII Remake. Because everybody was expecting that, because we are at the 20th anniversary, that something was, if we didn't see a release for Final Fantasy VII, at least some sort of fanfare for it, all right? And like I said, they went radio silent for a while where they really weren't saying anything. And then things started being leaked out that, hey, look, Square Enix is looking for new people to go ahead and work on one of the mainstream Final Fantasy games, or a Final Fantasy game. And then it turns out that, they wrested external development out of the hands of CyberConnect 2. They brought everything back in-house, and then they shuffled, the faces of the people who are in charge of the project. Nomura's not there anymore. And we have Naoki Hamaguchi, who's the head of it now. Do I think this is going to sit there and speed it up and that it's going to show up before 2020? No, I really don't. And even on that end, like Grey Mouse had mentioned before, the game's episodic. By the time we have the whole game, at this rate, the PS6 might be out. And I wish I was being completely facetious about that. But I'm not. Yeah, this one's really, really, really kind of weird.
So by the time Final Fantasy 20 hits, Final Fantasy 7 Remake would actually hit at the same time.
Or the last episode to it.
No.
I know, I'm doing the mental math here.
I honestly think that they're going to put something. I honestly think they're actually going to put something out this year, being that it is the 20th anniversary.
I'm hoping we see something. I mean, E3 will be really telling as far as what's happening. But the only things that people have seen past like the initial trailer and demo that they put out E3 of 2015 was a poster and some promotional artwork, and that was pretty much it over the last few years. So, yeah, this particular one,
at the Sony Experience, they showed some gameplay.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know if that was anything brand new though. So, yeah, this one's really tough. I don't know. I don't know if this one is really like making me too excited anymore, to be completely honest.
We're excited.
You're kind of biased against the game anyway because the game was spoiled by people that were playing it. So
no, I'm biased against the fans. I don't hate the game. I hate the fans of the game. All right, and I will. If you want to see why, just click on the card up there. Okay, you'll get the whole reason why. All right. No, the game itself was fine. All right. What killed the experience for me in that game was the fans who were sitting there spoiling everything at every fucking turn for that game.
Mm-hmm.
Now that doesn't mean I'm sitting there, I'm condemning the remake as far as it goes. I just think that there's something going on. All right. That's there has to be something. There had to be something dire going on for Square Enix to sit there, pull all of the development back in-house, and also completely change who was heading off the project. Okay? I mean, it doesn't matter if you're developing a AAA title game, directing a movie, or I don't know, you're a shift manager at fucking McDonald's, all right? If somebody, if they go ahead and they pull all their resources back, all right, and they sit there and they change who's in charge of something must not have been working, all right? Mm. What that was, I don't know.
Or the game would have been perfect, and what everyone else was like, what about DLC? We got to put that in. We got to make our money.
Yeah, we got to put in DLC. We got to put in multiplayer.
I think one thing too is what people are forgetting is that Final Fantasy 16 is starting. They're starting to develop for that as well. So I think there's a couple articles in the last couple of weeks that were saying that Square Enix was at least looking for people for Final Fantasy 16. So I mean, it cannot. To me, I'm really happy that Square Enix is pulling everybody back away from third-party developers, I guess. To me, I like that idea. It should have been done in-house anyway, especially with a well-beloved title. And I wouldn't trust anybody to make the game, than the people that made it in the first place. This is my opinion. I mean, it could be good and bad. But, I mean, if you're looking at it pessimistically, I mean, yeah, you got to scratch your head and wonder what went on, what happened, what did the developers get in a fight with the guys with the money? You know what I mean? You got to kind of scratch your head, like maybe they're trying to do something way out, and it's like, whoa, no, that costs too much money. We're just going to have to Canex that and bring it back in. The investors, believe it or not, they play a major role in the development of a game. If the money's not there in the first place, the developers don't have the money to do the game, to create the game. So I'm kind of wondering if that was the case. Was it the investors that said, no, you're taking too long, it costs too much. We need to get rid of help. But what I find interesting, Reverend, like you said, they didn't just get rid of one or two people. It was a literal shakeup. They did the shake, 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 and everybody fell down. And it's like that's kind of an issue when you have a shakeup like that. But like you said, like you mentioned earlier, I mean, the director of Wonder Woman left right before it was going to be released, and a new director was put in. So, and that turned out, it's coming out with good reviews and whatnot. So it's not always a bad thing that when somebody in charge gets removed and somebody else is put in their place, so we'll see.
Yeah, this one concerns me. I don't know.
It's concerning, and it's a head scratcher. I will admit that. That's definitely a head scratcher.
Yeah, it's funny because the thing is that I think it's really interesting. Like I said, the fact that they not only brought everything back in house, but they also changed who the guy who was heading off the project.
It was a total mix-up.
Yeah, that's just it's kind of like it's kind of like pretty much taking the whole like head office of a major team, and swapping it out with another head office someplace else. Yeah. It's not just new owners, it's new coaches, it's new trainers all the way around. It's like, all right, we think these people are going to be doing it better. All right. Well, the only thing that's left is the stuff that was already made, and that's still in play. Okay. And unfortunately, even at this moment in time with the shakeup going, we're still probably not going to see Final Fantasy VII Remake until 2020.
Maybe they learned their lesson from Ubisoft when they were with Assassin's Creed, where they had development teams all over the fucking world working on the game. And there's no way to have that many working parts and having a cohesive game. That's obvious. All you got to do is look at Assassin's Creed Unity to figure that out. I mean, maybe that was one of those. They're like, whoa, wait a minute, we're getting too spread out, too thin. Let's bring everything back. Let's start over. But I do disagree with you a little bit. I think maybe we will see part one late this year, or if not early next year. I hope that at least part one was at least in the QA stages when old boy got Canex. I mean, that's what I'm hoping. I'm just saying. I mean, it would be nice if that's the case. And just the fact that really burns me up is that this is the 20th anniversary of that game. And for you not to put anything out for that game, kind of like what they did with Metroid, we hit the major anniversary and they didn't give shit. It's kind of like, dude, you should have planned this. You should have planned this a lot better.
No, Nintendo gave something out. They gave out a DMCA to the guy who created another Metroid 2 remake.
I'm not talking about that shit, but but my point still stands, though.
That was on the eve of the 30th fucking anniversary, too.
But I mean, maybe. It's just if you really think about it, it's really depressing. I mean, it is. I mean,
I guess I'm really the only person that doesn't really give a damn about Final Fantasy VII Remake as everybody else.
I will admit at this moment in time, here's the thing. When they announced it at first, I was intrigued. I was very intrigued. I wanted to see what they had to offer. Okay, and then as more details came out, my level of interest started tempering off, especially when it came around to the point where they had the interview where it was like, oh, guess what? Nothing is sacred. We'll, if we want to go ahead and shuffle things around and change storyline parts and stuff like that, that part was like, whoa, wait a minute here. That, as much as I didn't enjoy the story as other people who sat there and played the game as much, because I had a lot of things spoiled beforehand. The thing about it is that I still understand that when it comes to the Final Fantasy games, story is integral to the whole fucking experience. All right. I'm not even going to go into a rant or anything about how a lot of JRPGs I don't consider real RPGs, but that's just a personal thing. All right. But all of that aside, there is so much tied into the core storyline of the game that, once you start messing around with the core storyline of the game and how things occur, it becomes a different game completely. All right.
Well, for one,
yeah,
somebody who's put 350 hours in the game, I was at the point where I could kill a ruby weapon and emerald weapon pretty easily. I had master material and all. I played the shit out of that game. So, and then like you said, I agree 100%. Like, if you start messing with the core, because the core game, the stuff at the beginning that happened, it takes effect on later aspects in the story. You start fiddling around with it. Now, don't get me wrong. I would love to see them expand Midgar a lot more than they did in the original game. If that's what they're talking about, I'm all for that. More story, but don't take anything away or change major, plots that Era somehow fucking survives. It just wouldn't make any fucking sense to play the game.
Change it so Sephiroth wins at the end.
Yeah, but I don't see that happening.
No, of course not.
Yeah. No, he'll
groundbreaking.
He'll win in a DLC pack that they go ahead and they decide to sell off to everybody. So, but yeah, I'm this particular one. I've got to say that with this particular news right here, now there isn't a lot of. Just to be completely honest, all right, I am now completely lukewarm on the game. Where it's just like, I'm just going to wait and see. Okay, I understand when it comes out, it's going to be a big deal. Okay, it's just that right now, the majority of the business decisions and the things that they've went ahead and they've leaked out to the public in concerns to Final Fantasy VII Remake, a lot of the stuff did not make sense to me. Okay, and now you're telling me that they went ahead and they shook up everything from top to bottom. All right. Because there can't be any other reason that you go ahead, you do a shakeup that big unless things were not working right. Okay, so something was going wrong. Something was foul in the state of Square Enix. All right, for them to go ahead and require that shakeup.
I think mostly was time. It was not on. I think it was like decades behind time schedule is what I think the shakeup was about. You're taking too fucking long. Let's just put this here.
I think it was actually going to be a traditional type of thing that no special things added, and that's why they pulled back, and it was like, no, we need to get with the times. There needs to be DLC.
I wholeheartedly disagree.
This game needs to be a $250 game.
I absolutely disagree.
Actually, the scary part is that I don't think that's too far off base. And the thing about time is that when you sit there and when you're developing things like that, there's the only way that you can sit there and offset the time thing is that you get more people in to help you. Okay? But they actually lessen the amount of bodies working on it by cutting out external development houses. So I don't know. And here's the thing about it. Here's the one thing that I think is unquestionable about this. Okay, as much as the fans love Final Fantasy VII, okay, and as much as they revere the game, they hold it close to their heart. This particular move right here kind of shows that Square Enix as a business, they're only looking at it as a revenue stream, and otherwise they really don't give a fuck about it all that much. Yeah, because there's very few there are very few developers and very few publishers out there who are willing to go ahead and go through this sort of thing or to flip the table on a project, okay, at any one time. Okay, I don't think they've done flip the table on this particular project. There's obviously pieces in play that they want to keep and make use of, but something was happening behind the scenes that, unfortunately, I don't think anybody's really going to be able to make sense of until around 2020.
Square Enix did send out there was a story about that Final Fantasy VII is not going to be the only remake.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. Well, they've been killing it with all the remastered re-releases of Kingdom Hearts. So, and the second one, that one came out in 2005. So we already know how long it takes for Square Enix to count to 3. much less to 7.
That's so funny, though. And in all honesty, what's really weird is that back in the day, they knew how to count to 3. I mean, because I think there was like a year and a half, if that, between Final Fantasy 2 and 3.
I was going to say, no, they didn't. 3 was 6.
No. But, yeah, I'm just saying here. But, so, that happened real quick. Final Fantasy 2 and Final Fantasy 3, that happened like, I want to say, 18 months in between or less. It came out quick.
Well, they also had
games, and you didn't have DLC and stuff like that. So
they also had pretty much Nintendo handling the localization and marketing of 3 when it came out here.
Mm-hmm.
So
this time it will be all that tacked onto it, and expect to pay $250.
I fucking hate you guys, man. Quit doing that DLC shit. It's not going to happen.
No, here's the thing.
Episodic, and that's.
I don't want it to happen, but according to everything that Square, the corporate, press releases and earning reports, and the things that the Square CEO himself has said about as far as what they want to go ahead and concentrate on, like I said, they are one of the most recent companies, all right, that have come out and they've planted that games as a service flag front and center right on their dick hole, saying, look at this. This is what we got, all right? This is the flagpole that we're stroking, that we're offering to people, all right? And when it's that blatant, okay, it would be stupid to tack that on to Final Fantasy, to not tack that on to Final Fantasy VII Remake. Okay? From a business standpoint, it would be stupid.
See, we don't even have a. Speaking of which, Final Fantasy VII, which you forgot to mention, is supposedly supposed to be 4 parts, and we don't even know what the cost of one part is. So if you're thinking, if one part is $15,
15.
No, they said that they're going to be full-size games that are going to span, hundreds of hours per each release. So, yeah.
And I want to go on record saying right now is that I'm probably going to be the one who's going to wait until all the parts are out so I can enjoy the game as a single experience.
Yeah, a Dix set with DLC, $250.
That's a special edition, damn it.
Set up on PC, available in 2030.
No. I'm talking about the one with I'm talking about the one with Tifa's boobs as a fucking mouse. Hey, I'm just saying.
It's Final Fantasy, man. It's not Senran Kagura. All right. let's just go ahead and let's wrap it up at this point, because we've already seen how far this particular conversation has devolved.
Oh yeah, it's good.
Let's just avoid the next 20 minutes. I already know where it's going to go. All right. Okay, I'll admit it's my fault making the dick joke 5 minutes ago, right? Because I did it. Okay, but what we really want to know at this point, folks, is that what are your thoughts on it? If you're aware of the shakeup with the Final Fantasy VII Remake development team and all the things that have happened over there at Square Enix over the last few weeks, what are your thoughts on it? Are we off base with our assumptions? Is the theme and are we just being dicks saying the shit that we're saying out loud? Feel free to tell us by leaving a comment below. You can continue to tell us how you feel by mashing on that like button, or you can mash on dislike if you want. I won't be surprised. All right. And if you actually like what we do around here, feel free to click on subscribe. With that, I'm going to go ahead and end all of our thoughts, all of our bullshit on the shakeup over there at Square Enix over the Final Fantasy VII development team. Ends right here. I am the Reverend.
The theme here.
Gray Miles 1.
Once again, for the benefits of common sense, logic, and episodic $250 gaming. Because that's what the fuckers going to be.
With multiplayer. Wait,
$60 for each episode, plus all the DLC, that's going to be like $1, $2, $3 each. Done.
Oh, wait. Costume changes for the girls.
No shit.
Costume changes for the men.
Yeah, they're going to... Yeah, that's like Dead or Alive.
I'm just saying, costume changes.
Yeah, it's like Dead or Alive.
Change Barrett's skin color if you want.
Don't forget.
Fuck it, let's go all out.
Yeah, don't forget summons and materia, extra shit. Yeah. Credits.
All coming to your PS6 in 2025.
Ding.